Hey everyone, welcome to Librella's Garden. My name is Laura and I'm so glad you're here today. I wanted to bring you along as I cut flowers today, and it'll most likely be the last time this garden is cut for the 2022 growing season. In 2 days, we are forecast to get down to 33 degrees at night. So there's a really good chance that we might get our first frost of the year, and that'll be coming in about a week and a half earlier than what we typically are forecast to get our first frost, but that's okay. Our frost dates are an approximate date, so we're about a week and a half to 2 weeks early, and we may not get a frost, but getting down to 33, you're dancing at that point. So I'm gonna go through and cut what is left in the garden here, and then go down to the big garden and cut down there. What is funny, I'm actually wearing sleeves outside, not because it's cold, because it is currently in the mid-70s. I'm wearing sleeves because of the mosquitoes. They are terrible right now. I guess they realize this is their last hurrah and their last chance to take a drink, get a bite before going in for the winter. Who knows? But this is a bit of a bittersweet moment. I was telling my husband earlier, I broke down in tears. Yeah. It has been a really good year, and this garden has been a blessing in more ways than I can describe. I often comment that this is my place of therapy. It's my place of escape, and I really enjoy it. But what's cool about where we live is our winters are fairly mild. We do get cold. We do get below freezing, but it's not for extended periods of time. We typically don't get a ton of ice and snow. We usually don't start getting any of that stuff until like January, and it's very short-lived. We kind of joke that it's here today, gone tomorrow, because most of the time in North Carolina it is. But so throughout the winter, I'll have plenty to do out here. I need to clean out the beds. Once the frost kills off the dahlias, I'll dig my dahlia tubers up. I already am flagging them with some tape, and I'll dig them up and get them stored away for the winter so they won't get damaged in the colder months. During that time, like I said, I'll clean, I'll put down some compost, fertilizer, things like that, so the bed can kind of be digesting it. That's my weird way to phrase it, but that way the beds will be ready for the spring and the summer when I start planting. I have plenty of seedlings that are going to get planted out this time of year in North Carolina, even though we're going to get our first frost in a couple of days. It's kind of funny because we will have a night of frost, and then the temperatures will get back up into the 70s during the daytime, and then into the 50s for our nighttime lows. So it's hit and miss until like the end of November, and then we get consistently overnight cool temps. But so there may be stuff that survives the frost, may not. I am, because I like to take risks and experiment with things in the garden. I'm gonna try to cover some stuff and just see what I can get to pull through. But during the winter, I've got seedlings to put out. I've got beds to clean and flip and get ready for the spring. I have tons and tons of tulips to plant, ranunculus, anemones. So I have plenty to keep me busy out here. It's not one of those, she gets tucked away for the winter and I don't come back out here until the spring. I'm working in the garden all winter long, so I'll definitely keep you guys posted about what's going on. And I'm sorry to keep fanning, but it's the darn mosquitoes. Told you. I have one of my beautiful dahlias over here. I don't know if you can see it. This is a little bit more open than what I typically cut for a customer, but I haven't had any orders the past couple of days, which is understandable because things are really slowing down. I'm not going to market, things like that. So I've been letting the dahlias open a little bit more and keeping them for myself to enjoy because I don't get to do that much. This one has a bug in it. Yep. Most of the times when I cut my dahlias, I cut them when they're just opening up really good. At least I'd say halfway. Really long stems. That way the customer can enjoy them for a longer period of time. This bed of zinnias is about done though. It is getting taken over by some sort of fungal disease, which is common because of the humidity in our area. My gladiolus, they did fairly decent this year. I'm hoping to have more success with them. Last year I made the mistake of not netting my last round that I planted, so when we had some storms come through, they blew over, but that's okay. Yeah, you live, you learn. So my plans for these flowers are I work at our local fire department. Some of you may know that, some of you may not. So my plans for a lot of these flowers, our department is having a fundraiser tomorrow, and so I'm making a pumpkin arrangement, and I'm going to put a lot of these flowers in it, and depending upon how many I have left over, I'll probably do like a vase arrangement, or if I can get my hands on a small pumpkin because they're getting kind of hard to find right now, I'll make a second pumpkin arrangement for their silent auction. That way it'll help raise a little bit of money for the department. But I think these will make a nice addition. Not this one, it's too open, but the rest of them I think they'll do well. I have a lot of marigolds I'll pop in there as well. But I'm just going to kind of move around the garden and keep cutting and keep swatting at mosquitoes. I'm excited. Even though we're getting ready to get a frost, she's still giving me zinnias. Alright, this is all I'm going to pick right now from the backyard garden. We'll head over to the big garden and pick over there. Everybody tucked in here. And I almost forgot. There's some tomatoes ready. These picked. I don't have any water in the flower bucket, so I'll put these in the bottom. Flowers and vegetables get along with each other really well. Having an increase, uh-oh, that one's not good. Having an increased presence of flowers in your garden will help to increase your vegetable yield. I'm trying to reach through and get these. So, oops. Definitely interplant vegetables with your flowers. And what I'll do with my vegetables, I have a ton of green tomatoes here, as well as down the side of the house. I have more green tomatoes over there. I'll come out later and pick those, and I'll take them in, and over time in the house those will redden up, so we'll still have somewhat garden fresh tomatoes. If nothing else, they're tomatoes we grow. Come walk. So it's bittersweet knowing that a frost is coming. because I've enjoyed the garden. It's my happy place. It's where I go to kind of escape. I love the flowers. It has great memories from when I was younger and great memories that we are now making with them. However, I'm kind of happy for the garden to go to sleep because it gives me a little bit of a break. Plus the garden needs the rest. You can't grow 24 hours a day, 365 days a year without giving your garden beds a little bit of rest. So this will be a nice little rest for the garden beds, and it'll be a nice little rest for me, even though I still stay busy doing garden stuff all winter long. The type of busy in the winter garden is a lot different than it is in the summer garden. Whew. Man, powdery mildew has taken over this patch. But it's a different type of busy. It's a little bit slower paced. I've always said, if you're wanting to start a garden but you don't have time for the maintenance that it sometimes requires, like pulling weeds and stuff, doing a winter garden is a great option, because you can start things like lettuce and kale, which are almost dummy proof and growing. And then you can start things like broccoli, which is a little bit more difficult, but with the right type of fertilizer, like using alfalfa to fertilize it, or just, you know, nitrogen based fertilizer, they grow pretty easy. Cabbage for me grows pretty decent. So your winter garden is slower paced. You're not out there every day pulling weeds because your weed pressure is low. You have hardly any pests to worry about during that time. So I love a winter garden. Plus, for me, during the summer, it's a rush every day to make sure I get blooms out of the garden the moment that they're ready, because I don't want them to go too far, because then I can't use them in bouquets. I'm constantly fighting pest pressure and weed pressure. So you can see how in the winter time, not having to worry about that kind of stuff is a little bit easier. But I will miss my pretty flowers. I'll really miss seeing people smile, get tangled up, when they get a bouquet. That makes my heart so happy. But seasons come and seasons go, and just like that, we'll be back to the spring season before long. We're talking about, or I was just talking about a winter garden just a second ago. I just planted it out yesterday. I'm gonna have to cover it up because it hasn't had time to establish a good root system yet. But I had some lettuce transplants that I grew, romaine lettuce. So I got those put out in my green stalk yesterday, and then I have some kale that I want to get out. I have grown kale uncovered all winter. I have a plant that's 2 years old and it's still growing. Can't kill it. Thing's been frozen solid. It's in a pot sitting outside. You can't kill it. It's been completely decimated by worms. Pest pressure goes away, the worms go away, the kale grows back bigger and better than before. It is insane. So definitely, if you like kale, grow kale. This is an absolutely beautiful flower, but I am not going to cut it because there is a bee sleeping on the back of it, and I want the bees to get everything they need for their winter slumber, so I'm going to leave that one alone. Or I'm going to leave it be. I'll be here all night. Well, I have a few more to get on another row, but I'm surprised with how many zinnias I have. I think I'll have enough to do 2 bouquets for the fundraiser. That'll be awesome. I'm kind of hoping it don't frost because I got asked to do another bouquet or pumpkin arrangement for one of the local schools. They're having a fall festival next week, and they asked me if I'd donate something, and I told them I would. So I'm hoping I can use my own flowers, because I really don't want to have to go buy flowers, simply because it's more special when it's the ones that you grew. But because I've already committed, I don't want to leave them hanging. So, and they know, we've already talked about it, but I'm really hoping I have at least enough that survive the frost, or we don't get a frost at all. It gets close, but we don't get a frost at all. I feel like a mosquito right above my eye. And that way I can do something with my own flowers. But zinnias, I'm gonna put these in the bucket and then go cut the cosmos. Okay, so I got cosmos, I got a couple more zinnias, a little bit of gomphrena, and some basil. So this will be great for doing hand-tied bouquet or a vase bouquet. All right, there is tonight's harvest. Try to run out and get a little bit more before we get a frost. I'm not mad. Beautiful way to finish off the 2022 season. Well, believe it or not, it's dark outside. Love how the camera adjusts the light. Plus there's a street light right here. But I have my bucket of flowers. So I'm gonna go home and put these in water, put some little preservation tablets in it, and get them ready to make beautiful arrangements for our department's fundraiser. And hopefully this won't be the last harvest, but I have a sneaky suspicion it will be because of the temperatures coming up. But if it is, it was a beautiful harvest. And if it's not, I will be thrilled with the next one. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a blessed day, and I hope you come back to see me again.